Anyway, Sunday greetings and blessings to all of you and all those who are on Zoom. We are one family, regardless of the distance. I would like to, in the first place, would like to just welcome in person Fernan and Irene sitting at the back. They've been here a couple of times before, and they're not alien to the community, but I just want to say welcome personally. Feel at home. Feel at home. This is your community. It's good to be back. Actually, it feels great to be Man, we just celebrated Thanksgiving, and personally, this year's celebration is totally different. Totally different. After all that I went through, from anxiety-filled days to sleepless nights, and everything in between, this year's Thanksgiving stands out. From going through tests and more tests, from anxious waiting until test results were available, when days were so emotionally loaded and the future seems uncertain, and finally, the point of getting to the point of relief and clarity. It feels good. Especially when I heard my doctor, my surgeon, after 3 days after surgery, he called me. The pathological test result came out to be cancer-free. And you don't need any further treatments. Woo! Thanksgiving and Christmas really is different this time. Woo! Yeah. So, yeah. Truly, this Thanksgiving and even Christmas is something I cherish all my life through. It's different in the sense that everything now is viewed from the lens of gratitude. And the future is perceived from a deeper sense of God's goodness and compassion. This is not something that I intellectualize. This is something that I personally experience. Your thoughtful concerns, your prayers, the prayers you lifted, the cards that you sent. I just want to show these cards because you know how thick it is? You know, in these cards, messages of wishes and prayers and all those encouraging words. This is treasure for me. This is treasure for me. Yeah. And the visits that you did, Pastor Kim, Pastor Rini, Hannah and David, and many others. I couldn't even name all of you. And there were food ordered by our doors. And then, what is this? We know that somebody ordered it for us. And the material support that the congregation and the leadership has provided, so that I don't have to worry about the material side of things. Oh, wow. Yeah. You know, these things are a testament to God's refreshing grace and kindness for me, for Lilibeth, and my family. It also speaks of the kind of community we are. Caring, loving, understanding, supportive, prayerful, to say the least. I can go on and on to marvel about my health journey and the love I received from your end. My story, our story together, and God's story weaved into our journey continues to unfold and to be told beyond this moment. In the meantime, let me fulfill my task of sharing the message I might forget. Welcome to the season of Advent, the season of preparation, anticipation, and deep reflection. We have a new Advent series. What do you fear? My personal gratitude to Pastor Kim for introducing sanctified arts into our church resource portfolio. Not only that we have the lectionary, not only that we have Marcia McPhee's worship design studio, we now have sanctified arts as a great option. And for this week, we focus on hope. Again, hope. We focus on you. Using our devotional, we have devotional, a journey of hope. Pastor Kim and I invite you to set aside a moment each day. Read a scripture gently and slowly, reflect, pray, and carry one word of hope in your day, in your heart. And during this devotional time, as a result, you kind of discover or uncover new realizations. Share them with us. Share them with us. Give us a call. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's listen to each other and journey together. I love our passages for today. Both passages, Luke and Lamentations, talk about fear and assurance. More so, they talk about possibilities, hope, and divine presence. I called on your name, O Lord, from the depths of the pit. You heard my plea. Give me relief. You came near when I called on you. You said, do not fear. Beautiful words. You know, Zechariah and Lilibeth, no, not Lilibeth, but Elizabeth. You know, when you spend more years with somebody, you know, the name just automatically pops up. It's Elizabeth. They were old. And Elizabeth, for a fact, she was barren. So, based on these factors, our human calculation will automatically default to zero possibility when it comes to bearing a child. And this story is not unique for Elizabeth. I almost say Lilibeth again. Even with Sarah, and you know, and not just the Bible, the Old Testament, but there are other literatures beyond the Bible that talk about, you know, virgin birth and all that stuff. So zero possibility. They have 100% no chance of having a child. But there lies the beauty of it. Wherever there is impossibility, God comes in to intervene. When something is lacking, something is difficult. What was that? Oh, that's okay, the remote will. Yeah. Whenever there is fear, God shows up. We may have talked about fear in the previous series recently or, you know, years back. But this is the thing. So long as life is uncertain, so long as there are threats to human existence, so long as there are acts of violence committed to the vulnerable and powerless, So long as there are calamities happening, both natural and human-made or human-designed, so long as we are still in this world, there will always be fear. It's good to acknowledge, however, that fear isn't just a personal experience. It is a shared reality. No one has the monopoly of fear. It is a shared reality. Given the political climate in this country, fear has been an instrument of manipulation and control in obvious and subtle ways. Fear has become a tool to suppress and divide, and when division exists, those who are in power stay in power and celebrate. It is necessary to recognize that engineered fear can make the abusive stay abusive. And the only antidote that is, for that is unified resistance based on hope. Hope that springs from that faith in a God of life who truly cares about the present and the future. Unified hope. Unified resistance. That might sound radical, but there are a lot of ways to resist. Even silence can be a form of resistance. You don't have to say no, but silence can be an overwhelming no if we use it in the proper context. Talking about faith, there are those who would say, if you have faith in God, you shouldn't be afraid. You have to trust God with all your heart. It's in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Yes. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. Jesus was quite clear, at least from my vantage point, that fear is part of life, and faith does not necessarily take away all fear. There is a use for fear. The Bible in the Old Testament used fear when it comes to rearing a child. And there were this term, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. There is this inclination to use fear in the positive ways. And there's a use for it. And we would like to stick to the positive side of fear. But the thing is, in this world that is so much bombarded with fear here and there, fear is always seen in the negative sense. And I couldn't blame anybody. I couldn't blame anybody for that, because fear is real. Fear is real. But at the same time, the good element of fear can push us towards something better. What if we don't fear anymore? Right? Will that motivate us to act accordingly? That's the thing that I would like to emphasize when it comes to fear. I'm just trying to be realistic, actually. While fear pushes us to hold on to our faith, faith, however strong, doesn't necessarily eliminate it. Even the righteous Zechariah was terrified when the angel appeared to him. And in that very moment, the messenger from God told him to not fear. Honestly, I would rather have the phrase, take courage, than do not fear. Take courage. Because to take courage doesn't mean fear is totally gone. Right? It is holding on to faith and hope despite fear. That's courage. That's courage. I had that kind of thing when I was in the operating table, whether I was conscious or not. I had that. I held on to that. When one of my nurses during one of my procedures asked me, "Are you scared?" I said, "Yes." And then comes the word from an angel, "We'll take care of you." Whew. I'm glad I expressed my fear. Because if I didn't, the angel won't show up. Right? Yeah. So I have befriended some of those fears. And yet take courage. Because I know I was being lifted up by your prayers, by your thoughts. Yeah, take courage. To take courage is to push ourselves moving forward despite fear with a tight grip to hope that things shall pass and situations get better. And finally, get to the other side. It may take some time, but we will get there, just like the healing process. It takes some time and a lot of patience. In the midst of fear, we need to cling to hope. And as God's people, our hope is in the Lord. Our hope is in the Lord. As King David said, "For God alone, O my soul, wait in silence, for my hope is from God. God only is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be shaken." We've heard it before. Without hope, what is there to live for? We always hear that, right? What is there to live for without hope? We should be more scared, actually, and terrified of hopelessness than the uncertainty we are in. I would like to emphasize that. We should be terrified more of hopelessness than the things that can make us so scared. In my personal journey, I have experienced and discovered these things that commonly scare us. I've learned of this intellectually before, but when you go through something and you get the experience, it's different. First of all, our overthinking and anticipation leads to fear. Remember those times when we overthink and we over-anticipate, right? Remember those wild thoughts, the what-ifs, right? The what-ifs. What if I have an adverse reaction to anesthesia? I have no adverse reaction when anesthesia is there, but anesthesia, there is. You spot the difference, right? Yeah. The nurse. That's anesthesia. What if I bleed during surgery? You know, all those wild thoughts. Yeah, what if I can't bear the pain? What if? You know, and then during one of our conversations, my oldest daughter was telling me, Dad, just stick to the facts. Just stick to the facts. And then that will prevent you from overthinking and all those, going through that rabbit hole of, whoo, It's good to have daughters. And nurses. Have to deal with their stubborn dad. But anyway, yeah, this over-anticipation and overthinking can kill us in the process, actually. Yeah. So it's one of those things that I kind of dealt with, learned from, and I would like to share that with you. That might spark some, lessons in your personal life. And secondly, anything unknown, not because I don't know this intellectually, anything unknown, those things we are not in control of, anything that we don't know scares us. We've heard before, it's fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. Anything that we don't know can scare us. We don't know what the diagnosis would be. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know after this and that, and going again into the rabbit hole. Stick to the facts. Hold on. One of the scripture passages that I find comfort is Deuteronomy 31, verse 6. Though it was originally said in another context, but its message remains powerful, and it says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified, for the Lord your God goes with you. God will never leave you nor forsake you." Beautiful words to remind us. You are my hiding place. You always fill my heart with songs of deliverance. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. Let the weak say, I am strong in the strength of my Lord. I will trust in